working in London as an investment banker. So how was that shift and what made you do that?
I always joke with my father that it will be his 20 years and my overnight success. It has been a journey. I always joke and say that the blood you see on the film is visual effects, but the blood you see behind is for us to remember.
For so many years, you guys were into animation business, being successful, and suddenly you do a blockbuster VFX movie. So how did Chhaava happen?
Making a film on Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj comes with a great amount of responsibility.
So how much time did the team spend only on this lion shot?
Definitely a year.
Oof.
Fortunately, this film had no memes. Right after the film releases, you have a bunch of people circling shots and making fun of it, and I haven't seen any of those. So my only word of caution would be that today if you're young, today if you're hungry, today if you're aspirational, today if you are willing to work hard, and today if you're Indian, you have a great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
Yeah.
Today on the podcast, I'm thrilled to welcome Arjun Madhavan, CEO of Assemblage Studios, a powerhouse in the world of animation and VFX. Assemblage has earned its reputation globally by delivering high-quality animation for major international projects. And more recently, they have made waves in India with their blockbuster VFX contribution to the movie Chhaava. In this conversation, Arjun opens up about the current state and future of animation industry while also sharing the invaluable guidance for youngsters looking to build a career in this exciting field. Hi Arjun, welcome to our podcast on AVGC. AVGC is animation, visual effects, games and comics, and we are so excited to have you here on our podcast.
Thank you. And Samit, thank you for having me here. And firstly, I should say congratulations to you and to ScorpionSpeaks for taking this initiative. I think it's going to be a huge success.
And let's start.
Let's go for it.
So my first question is very interesting and very off track. You've been working in London as an investment banker. So how was that shift and what made you do that?
I always joke with my father, Max or Madmax,
Max,
that it will be his 20 years and my overnight success. But yes, I studied in London. I studied at the London School of Economics. So I come from a maths, economics, statistics background.
Wow.
I was in investment banking. I worked at Goldman Sachs, at Deutsche Bank, and then at a private equity fund in London. And I think in many ways that was like military training in the corporate world.
In the world, yeah.
Because it teaches you a lot of skills, life skills, which I think come in handy and very handy in our media entertainment business, which is how to work hard.
Yep.
How to, understanding the engineering of how organizations work, big companies, small companies, how to deal with people, how to deal with mood swings, how to deal with egos.
Yeah.
All of that is so essential in what we do today. So I think the time I spent in London in a different industry was very helpful. I didn't ever imagine that I'd come to this business and this industry, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, as they say, life is made of many happy accidents. And when my father at the age of 55 decided to be an entrepreneur and take the shift into starting from zero. So it's been a journey, but the transition has been exciting and I have no regrets.
So you said you were taught a lot about managing business and all in your training back in London, but generally whatever you learn abroad and when you come to India especially, it's totally different.
Right.
One, animation industry is not a banking or very corporate-ish kind of, and that too when you started in 2013, it was a chaos. You know what it is.
Absolutely.
So how useful was your education in London, which you could actually implement it in the animation industry?
No, absolutely. I think, look, education is one thing. I think there's this age-old debate about what you study in school, what you study in college, what you do as your degree and program, how relevant that is in your working life. And I think that's one part of it. But I think I was very lucky in getting exposure, which is, I think, the right word. Getting access and exposure to understanding how organizations work.
Correct.
And I think at the heart of every organization, which is across any industry, any geography, any time zone, is people. And I think that was my on-ground corporate organizational training, which today comes in very handy, especially in our business when people don't often say what they think.
True.
And sometimes you have to read between the lines quite literally. And
Correct.
sometimes you have to second guess what people are thinking. And I think just human skills. Look, we also come from a business, I come from a world where in the finance world, things are black and white.
Yeah.
It's numbers. To transition from that world to a world of entertainment and the creative field where subjectivity is at the heart of everything we do is the biggest transition.
Yeah.
Because there is no right or wrong.
True.
It's a matter of taste. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of preference. There were discussions I used to have in the early days of my career when someone is saying, this blue is not looking like the blue I want. It needs to be 5% shaded and tinted.
Yeah.
And for someone without the creative eye, these are mind-opening, examples of how subjectivity
Yeah.
is so essential. But that's what makes it, the beauty and the beast of our creative workforce is that how you appreciate, respect the artist.
True.
And that's a human skill. So I think many ways, I think the training keeps me in good stead.
Awesome. So tell us something about the inception of Assemblage Studios. Max sir, Senior Madhavan sir, has spent many years in the animation industry. So he's so experienced. And as you said, at the age of 55, he became an entrepreneur and said, I'm going to start a studio, which is obviously a big story in the industry. People talk about it still. And to make it successful. So what's the backstory about Assemblage Studio?
Of course, it's a very humble beginning with the 15, 20 people who came in and joined to start the operation. But Assemblage's beginning didn't come with flashy investors or investment. It came with honest intention. There was no capital backing or resources.
Okay.
The biggest equity of Assemblage back in time and today is the trust.
Yeah.
Because the company started with a contract from a client, and there's no bigger, better blessing than that.
Yeah.
Right? But the origin started from a need and a necessity to fill that void and vacuum, which then in a couple of years after that startup phase was fueled by ambition.
Okay.
I think that was the turning point
of
how we championed the business in a whole new direction. The mix of energy and experience, of youth and white hair, I think is the perfect combination.
What was the first project which he backed in? Like, you guys backed in. Was it international or domestic or what?
First project we were blessed to get was a feature film called Norm of the North.
Which
became a franchise and of
yeah.
course for back in time kind of moved a few parameters in the industry.
Yeah.
I think having a constant validation from our customers, from our clients of doing repeat business has been the greatest form of, I think, validation that we've all got. So,
yeah. So tell us something about the Norm of North's story and the franchise story. Was it generally an international project coming to a new studio?
Right.
Would ask for an experience like, okay, tell us what have you done in the past? Show us the work.
Right.
And this was a new studio. So what made you get this project?
The honest truth is I can, tell you a story which you want to hear. There was a huge amount of pedigree and respect and trust that clients had, that artists had, that vendors had, be it hardware vendors or software vendors, right? We didn't have a showreel.
Yeah, exactly.
To bag a feature film at day zero and then to do two more films and then do a whole, spectrum of work, I think is what dreams are made of.
Cool. And what was the time or period year when you or Max, everyone thought that Assemblage is big now, or it's completely changed the game? It's arrived. So which project or what was the turning point where you felt we are there?
I think we're still figuring it out. But, I wish success came with a signpost or a flag post that you have arrived. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So when you get a second deal, a second project, a repeat customer, you're doing something right.
True.
Right? I don't know if we've ever felt that we've arrived, but I think we have started feeling that we're doing something right and have created a dent in the universe.
Yeah.
And that still happens to date. So, of course, the nature of our business has changed from where we were 13 years ago to where we are today. And I think it's going to dramatically change going forward as well. But I think the fact that we have gone from doing low-budget animated features, which have released globally in 3,000 plus screens, which is called a wide theatrical release. I think we're the only studio which have done today 10 animated full-length theatrical feature films, which have got wide exposure in North America but internationally, and a series of premium shows for all the leading streamers: Netflix, Apple, Amazon, HBO Max, Peacock. I think the portfolio of the versatility is, I think, what makes all of this very special.
Very special. A small studio starting from 20, having no idea of what we're going to do, but a confidence which I think Max had, and the knowledge of running a business, and that fear also, of course, from you, like you're coming back to India and
Absolutely.
starting a studio which you are not into ever.
No. And I think that was I think the greatest combination. Of course, Max is credited to have opened the animation industry 25 years ago with the first project, which was not just the first project out of India in CG, but won a BAFTA and Emmy award. So it put India on the map. In the early 2000s. But I think when he started the company, this was not a family business. This is a family startup. So I think credit goes to him that despite having all that experience in the industry, I think he found a good voice and a good partner in me. So I do think we have a great partnership. But I think the healthy mix of what Max and I did together is, I think, a great success story.
For so many years, you guys were into animation business being successful, and suddenly you do a blockbuster VFX movie. So how did Chhaava happen? I'm like, when we also heard that, animation studio doing Chhaava, I'm like, it's a huge project. But you guys did it, not just did it, you guys killed it. So I would want to know about the Chhaava story. How did you get this project? And of course, a little more story about Chhaava's VFX.
Great. No, thank you for asking that. I think we did it again. We had no showreel in VFX really. And without a showreel from India with a high premium quality VFX to be awarded Chhaava was, I think, a leap of faith. So I think credit does go to its makers at Maddock for placing their trust with us. But I would say this, that, in our journey, like you said, we've done many firsts and many milestones. One of the things that we also did was we partnered with one of the world's leading visual effects and animation companies called CINE SITE. In 2021. And CINE SITE, of course, is known for its world-class work, and it's a North American-focused animation VFX house. And, when we became partners with them, we got a little bit of confidence that we can use their experience, their expertise, their knowledge, their technology in bringing world-class visuals to Indian film and TV.
Correct.
So the dream began there, that, our audiences are also hungrier today, are looking for more. So we got awarded Chhaava because of our history and credentials, but also because of our partnership with CINE SITE. And I think we did justice to that. And to be exposed to that as your first project, of course, was a lot. There's everything in that film, right? When it comes to the scope of visual effects.
True.
So to be able to crack the pipeline, the team, the process, the workflow, we also brought Western supervisors to India. Not because Indian talent is not capable, or not because Indian talent is not sufficient. I think we have incredible talent in India. But I do think that collaborating is a way of the future. True. And to be able to bring folks from the UK or North America who have a very different body of work, who understand the language very differently, and bring that exposure into Indian film was something we wanted to do. And, credit goes to, again, Maddock, Dinesh Vijan sir, Pooja, Sanjeev ji, and of course the vision of the director, Mr. Laxman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he fueled and powered the cinematic and the heart both in this film. So it has been a journey. I always joke and say that the blood you see on the film is visual effects, but the blood you see behind is for us to remember.
Exactly.
It's a lot of hard work, but fortunately, everybody has very well appreciated the visual quality, the VFX, the cinematic style and appeal. It has all contributed to the grandeur of that film.
Yeah.
And of course, Lakshman Utekar Saab is incredible filmmaker.
He has a
And,
vision, and of course he is a DOP and as his previous career,
background, yeah,
and coming from DOP to direction, he has the eye, is what we can say.
absolutely.
Every frame looks cinematic. It
Every
looks
pixel has a personality.
personality. Exactly. That's
Every frame has some fame.
yeah.
That's the kind of work that went behind
Went
it,
behind it.
because his vision was very clear and strong. Making a film on Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj comes with a great amount of responsibility.
True.
Not just in the storytelling, but also in being able to be authentic to the time and the era.
Yeah.
So research about the art, research about the structure, the architecture, the fabric, the textiles, the color palette, the tones.
Yeah.
So the whole art team, the production design team that assisted Lakshman sir, I think did an incredible job. So I think it was definitely an experience, a journey of reliving a time and space which our history is very proud of.
True.
Also, everyone who worked on it, I learned much later, was making an epic period film, a historical drama for the first time. It was Maddock's first. It was Vicky Kaushal's first. It was Lakshman sir's first.
Okay.
And it was Assemblage's first.
Wow.
So,
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Yeah. This is the first time I am knowing about this, and I think a lot of the audience who is watching this podcast will also relate to, like, wow, so many first in this one movie, Chhaava.
Absolutely. And I think when you do something for the first time, there's a certain innocence to it. There's a certain naivety as well. But there's also a certain hunger. There's a certain urge to outperform.
Yeah.
So everyone has put in more than their very best.
True.
Which shows on screen.
So how difficult was it for you guys to switch from an animation thing to a very invisible VFX looking thing? And what was the prep with the team had to do for how many days or months before you guys started preparing production of Chhaava?
No, absolutely. I think temperamentally, animation and visual effects are two different beasts.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a commonality because they're influenced by graphics. So artistically and technologically, there is a lot of commonality. But temperamentally, they're two different worlds.
Yeah.
We were on set, right? So there was on-set supervision, because for a film of this scale, with large crowds, with large sets across Maharashtra, it required a lot of alignment with action directors, with stunt directors, with art teams, with DOP teams. So you had a lot of coordination work. So we had to prep alongside that. And artistically, the preparation that went in was on the aesthetics, right? So the famous lion sequence of the film, which I think has been much spoken about and has turned out to be, I think, of a very high cinematic quality.
Absolutely.
I should be able to say today with a lot more confidence that I think that kind of a sequence with a creature, with a lion, has not happened in Hindi cinema.
Interacting with a human being,
Interacting
like a live character.
With a protagonist, with that kind of valor and raw energy and action drama, high intensity.
Correct.
You've not seen in Hindi cinema.
Hindi cinema, true.
So I think the preparation for the lion sequence started right at the start. And we did previs, we did visualization rounds, we did tests. Also shooting for the actor on set was a unique experience, because you have to be so mindful about eye lines and about lighting and about the physical space, because anything that goes off, even by a degree, may either increase the workload or might make it look not so believable.
True.
There were lots of CG environments in this film, because you had to create the 1700s or the 1600s rather, when the forts had a different structure. They look very different from what it is today. The grandeur was different, so we had to build all of that in CG and make it look blend in to the real life sets. So all of this required planning, in excessive amounts of planning. So we were planning 6 months. I remember that it was a long schedule. It was a tough schedule, I think, but the prep was intense.
So coming back to the lion sequence, because I had this in mind that I'm not going to leave this topic, because I wanted to know wanted to know more about this lion sequence, and also the audience who has seen the movie but want to know that how many people from your team would have worked only on that lion shot, which is for how long? I think the duration would be for 2 minutes.
No, I think it was a minute,
Minute,
yeah.
max
About a minute,
one,
yeah.
one and a half minutes.
Yeah.
So how many people and how many iterations, like, how many times the shot must have been rejected? VFX or 3D or CGI never gets approved in one go.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's the story about it?
Lots of stories,
Yeah.
right? So I think the line sequence will be one for all our history books because there are lots of war stories about the line sequence, and rightly so, because for what it's ended up being, the effort paid off.
Yeah.
But shooting a line sequence is tough for everybody.
True.
It's the first time that, of course, Laxman sir was doing something like this, and no one has seen a lion do this kind of action.
Correct.
Right? So we are, of course, doing extensive referencing. The amount of videos that our teams probably have in their storage of lions in different poses, in different actions, in different moods is extensive.
Yeah.
But I think the iterations were several. Firstly, because when you shoot a sequence that way, even after the film's editor cuts the edit, it's very tough for a director to know anything about timing, pacing.
True.
Because there is no line.
Yeah.
So the first thing we do is called post-viz, where we place the line, a dummy line, a CG line in grayscale, to even allow the director and the editorial team to cut the sequence.
Yeah. And
That what is
understand the
shots,
grip. Yeah.
The grip. So previs was before shoot, right? Then you go on shoot.
Yeah.
Previs happens before shoot to even guide the
How
director,
to
the DOP on how to shoot.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was done.
That was done.
Yeah.
Because then that allowed everybody to know things like camera angles, lensing, direction of light, framing, the stunts, the stunt doubles. All of that was contributed in the previous exercise.
Yeah.
After the shoot, post-viz is essential for anybody to get a sense of what did we actually shoot.
Yeah.
Because you otherwise have a man in a green suit who's trying to fumble like a lion and the actor.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. So we do post-viz, which allows then the director to make a judgment call on the edit.
Correct.
Once the edit is locked is when we start, the next level of work. In parallel, by the way, assets are being built, of course, which is, you do iterations of the asset. We had to have a very specific look of the lion because this lion is an Asiatic lion.
Yeah.
So it has to be, again, feel authentic and believable. It had to have a certain dimension because in context of Sambhaji Maharaj, or in this case, Vicky Kaushal's own dimensions, it had to have a certain, it was a hungry lion.
Hungry lion, yeah.
So it was, therefore it attacked the protagonist. So all of that work of how the hair should look, how the under eye should look, what the body language should be, what the personality should be, what the walking style should be,
muscles of each and every muscles,
everything,
movement,
scars on the body, dirt on the body.
Yeah.
All of that was extensive asset build process, which happened, right from the start. The other challenge, though, in doing a creature sequence, which is natural for filmmakers, is it's very tough to visualize. Because when you're seeing a grayscale lion or even a lion without the hair and the fur, which happens much later, it's very tough to understand emotion. Because only much later in the process, when you've simulated all the hair and all the muscle dynamics,
match the lighting,
is when you start getting a feel of the sequence. So it's not easy for anybody. And then there was a point where it did pivot. Because once you see the lion in its full charm and glory, with Vicky in the works, then I think, you start making those different, additions which take a shot from 80% to 100%.
True.
I always believe that hitting 80% is, everyone can do that.
True.
But the 80 to 100 journey is where magic lies.
The most toughest.
Absolutely. So it's the saliva, is that little twitch in the eye. It's the blood drooling, the blood dripping. It's that little dust that is created sometimes to...
The contact. Maybe
the contact
this
point.
one
Absolutely.
small point where there's contact not went right, like change it.
Shadows.
Yeah, shadows.
Because all of this somewhere contributes to the subconscious, adding to the authenticity of that fight.
Correct.
So that's when the fun happened. A lot of work, a lot of iterations. Continuity is important because, dust continuity was a big thing.
Exactly.
You can't go from one shot to the other.
Yeah.
But overall, look, I think those were 2 a.m. nights and sleepless nights,
Yeah.
and everyone's eyes were focused and obsessed with that. But I think it all pays off. And I think
Absolutely.
the glamour with which you see it on the big screen is very, very rewarding. So, yeah.
So how much time did the team spend only on this lion shot?
I would say overall, if I have to say from asset build to the final, definitely a year.
Oof, for that 1 minute shot. Okay, for
It
that
was a
one.
year.
It
Yeah.
was a year. You know what? And when I saw that movie,
Right.
and I was like, "Itna chota kyun?" Or like we
Huh.
wanted more. I wanted more. Like I karo yaar, और थोड़ा होना चाहिए, like action and all.
Absolutely. 1 year of hard work, multi-site production,
Yeah.
cross-continental effort. We had Western talent contribute to this. So it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
In the end, all is well. So,
Any on-set incidents or funny incidents which you can share?
plenty.
Okay.
It was a long schedule, so it was plenty. I think the fact that we firstly had Simon Frame and Gary Brown, our two Western supervisors,
True.
who were incredible, and they have incredible backgrounds and experience. When the director's team or the directors were sometimes briefing our VFX soups, a lot of the briefing also happened through sound. Because you had to really imitate how a horse moved, or you had to imitate how a lion's growl would be.
Yeah.
There were no words used. It was
Only the
true
sound.
emotion sound. And in that, we were all wondering, did they both understand each other? Is the brief clear? Or what are we going to get out of this?
Yeah.
But I think that also taught us that storytelling has a different language.
True.
You don't need to maybe speak the same, maybe it's English or Hindi or whatever, Marathi, whatever it is. There's a language of storytelling.
What was the best praise which you got from the director, from the team, or from outside? Anyone who has said something which you were like extremely proud of?
Praise from audiences is love and blessings, which is amazing, of
True.
course. Unfortunately, this film had no memes going around, which is a fear today in VFX.
Exactly,
that
yeah.
right after the film releases, you have a bunch of people circling shots and making fun of it, and I haven't seen any of those,
Yeah.
fortunately. So, but I think coming from the director, praise coming from the director means the most. The fact that he said that his nephew asked him innocently that how did you actually shoot with the real lion?
With the lion, yeah.
And which, of course, for him also was a great mark of being able to make it believable.
Coming back to the industry story, okay, Chhaava was a great hit. But then suddenly, after past 2.5 years, we had a tough time, right? So there was a heavy turbulence in our industry, both animation and visual effects. Big studios like Marvel and all were not producing films, so work was not coming to India. So was this shift from animation to visual effects intentionally thought about, like, hey, let's extend our arms and VFX also and do local projects to survive, or maybe
Yeah.
sustain?
Right.
Or was that, what was it?
I think looking back, definitely it was a bit of tact. Also, maybe a little happy accident as well.
Okay.
But the ambition, Samit, was to be able to two things. One is to diversify, right? So we have always been a core animation. We're known for our animation.
Yeah.
That's what we eat, breathe, sleep, and repeat. Our choice of moving into visual effects, we couldn't have asked for a better beginning.
Yeah.
To also add, we did a film before Chhaava called
Rocketry.
Rocketry.
Yeah.
With Mr. R. Madhavan, which also won the National Award for the best film. It had a lot of CG-based VFX, where the rockets and the engines of the rocket, where the movie is based,
True.
Was a character of the film. So it was a big responsibility as well. And back in the day also, when we were asked to do that, it was Mr. Madhavan's conviction that we work with him on that. And we're very grateful for that. But to do Chhaava was a whole different thing.
True.
For two reasons. One is, of course, gave us immediate recognition for VFX, immediate recognition within India. Because before that, maybe a lot of local filmmakers and producers and houses had not heard of us in VFX or us, because we were largely working for the international community. So it did open up a lot of goodwill. But also, I think what it does is it allows us today to offer similar services to high vision projects.
Okay.
Right. I think there are a lot of high vision, high concept films that Indian filmmakers are aiming for. So I think the choice that we made was, now looking back, a good one. It's always risky.
Yeah.
It's always tough. You'll always be judged by your last project. But I think Chhaava has also done a great service to believing in the box office.
Box office. Yeah.
At a time when the box office is being questioned in our industry, Chhaava, I think, was a breath of fresh air.
So one more thing I wanted to discuss when we were talking about Chhaava, and we did speak about is actually two things. We had two foreign VFX supervisors on working on this project, and though India has a lot of best artists, best supervisors, then why foreign supervisors? When you said there were challenges about language and and a lot of things, because they don't understand our culture. Everyone in India knows about what Sambhaji Maharaj is, how the army was, what was the story behind, all these things. But they have zero idea. Then why foreign supervisors, and why not Indian artists and supervisors were working in this project, leading in this project is...
Samit, for decades, India and Indian artists have tried very hard to understand Western culture, Western humor, and contributed to Western films.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
At the end of every Western film or international film, you will find quite a long list of Indian names in rolling credits.
True.
I think it's time for role reversal. Right? I think it's time for Western folks to also appreciate, make the effort to understand Indian culture, to understand Indian filmmaking, Indian aspiration, scale, complexity, and contribute to it. So I was very happy that this was a moment where we could proudly say that we have reverse outsourced.
True.
Where we have actually got Western talent to work for Indian film.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to shy away from that. Because we live in a world of collaboration. Indian supervisors, Indian VFX supervisors, Indian artists in general are heavily talented.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. It shows in our work. But sometimes I also think that with a lot of experience, what we would love to get is exposure.
Yeah.
In general, our artistic community in the last 20, 25 years, we have actually learned much of what we know by doing.
Correct.
Not everybody has had the luxury or the privilege of studying filmmaking, going to animation or VFX schools and learning the craft, the science and the tech behind it, or the art. We have not had those
liberty.
So most of what we have done is through on the job. Right? I think it's that time now where the world starts coming and peeking into our domestic world in India and contributing to storytelling, contributing to direction, contributing to VFX and all of that. So it elevates the film viewing experience in India. So
CINE SITE. I wanted to talk about CINE SITE collaboration with Assemblage. Why was the decision of collaborating with an international studio? Of course, CINE SITE is big, and during the tough period you collaborated, and how did it help an Indian studio was it, as you said, because of CINE SITE also there was an advantage of getting the Chhaava project for VFX? And how much did the CINE SITE team work on Chhaava also?
Right. So we partnered with CINE SITE, as you know, which is one of the world's leading visual effects and animation companies 4 years ago.
Correct.
To be honest, we were very lucky because 4 years ago, when the world was beginning to slow down, we were actually, like I said, post-pandemic, we were actually at the peak of being busy. So it was a good time. And I think great partnerships are made in good times because you operate from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness or desperation. I think the coming together of CINE SITE and Assemblage is a great partnership because we come from different operating philosophies, different geographies, and different strengths. Right. Thesis of the combination was, how do we have a blend of East meets West? Right. From their perspective, I think they wanted Asian and Indian presence. They wanted a studio which has credibility. They did a deep diligence of Asia, and then they shortlisted us, and we went through the process of due diligence. But there was meeting of minds. right, in terms of the entrepreneurial spirit of both the companies and how we've all grown through sheer hard work and hustle.
Correct.
From our perspective, I think it was a good time to open up the canvas of being able to have exposure to category of work, which we did do in VFX.
Yeah,
So also, I think there's a lot to learn from each other. Right?
absolutely.
There is a certain um, pipeline technology. There's a certain artistry. There's a certain, again, exposure and experience. All of which we can cross leverage.
Yeah.
Right. So the coming together of CINE SITE and Assemblage was, I think, a highlight in many ways of the industry, and at that time was a, I think, great success story. And the most important thing is, looking back, I think is partnering with good people.
A lot of young kids want to get into this industry, but they're scared that AI will take everything away from them. But what about the talent pool? Will they be reduced? What do you see AI doing?
This is a long conversation, but
Yeah.
I think the essence of what I would say is, I think there'll be a more redirection of the focus. An artist was supposed to be creative
Yeah.
and was supposed to be artistic.
Yeah.
So to an extent, I do feel we're going to see a shift in where artists can start going back to the basics of focusing on the creative elements of their job.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean that there will be a downshifting or down rounding of the workforce.
Yeah.
But I think it's, whilst AI is moving very fast and there is evolution every day, there's a change.
Yeah.
I think my belief is that tools by themselves are not going to be as powerful as workflows.
Correct.
So unless we all build workflows which are augmented by these AI-led tools,
Yeah.
because workflow will help you make scalable content, repeatable content, consistent content, and high quality content.
Correct.
Each of these are essential.
True.
Making a 30-second clip or a 1-minute piece or a 2-minute piece for social media and unregulated platforms like a TikTok or YouTube is one part of it.
Yeah.
But to make that consistent for even a micro drama to a full-length drama will require a lot of integration.
Yeah.
So it's an evolution.
So AI will be a tool which we've been using, like, as a different medium. This will be included in one of the pipelines.
I
to
think
make
AI will be
things
integrated in pipelines, in
pipelines.
workflows like software was, and there's a whole rapid change of the software ecosystem. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be a massive reduction in the creative community. I don't think that. I just think that we'll get focused into doing things that humans can do better than systems and machines, which is an eye, an emotion, a soul, a heart. These are things which I think will continue to be championed and double down on. So,
Yeah. So is Assemblage also working on some AI projects or
We
AI
are.
in the pipeline?
Absolutely.
Okay.
For the last 9 months, we have extensively been in-house working, developing, and integrating into our tool sets.
Wow.
And we have also started using it in a small way on our future VFX project, which hopefully in the next podcast I'll show you.
Perfect. So we're waiting for it. So every new project you guys do, maybe during the release or before the release, we would like to do a small
Definitely.
podcast to inform or educate the audience on how our industry is doing and what our industry is doing.
Absolutely.
So next thing is you've started Assemblage 13 years back and you're still running it. So what differences do you see from 2013 till now?
Some things don't change and some things change. So
Yeah.
let's talk about something that haven't changed
Changed.
first. What hasn't changed is expectation.
Correct.
That I think everybody wants high quality, pixel perfect work.
Yeah.
But the pressure on the economics, on the budgets have been for all of us to tell, right? There's a downward pressure on budgets and there's an upward aspiration on quality. So it is therefore our mandate as studios to be able to figure out the divide between these two forces which are going on diametrically different directions.
Yeah.
So upskilling is essential and technology is essential to bridge that, right? But the other thing that I think has fundamentally shifted in that pivotal point was the pandemic, to be honest, because the pandemic has had a huge subliminally, subconsciously, an impact on mindset, on behavioral pattern, on consumption trends, right? Which have all today percolated in why we are where we are today, right? So attention spans, right,
True.
is a function which was further deepened after the pandemic.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I think that has caused a lot of rapid change in the thinking behind production cost,
Yeah.
production value, right? Time to produce, right? Because today you do want a certain shorter duration between idea to being on screen,
Yeah.
right? Again, upskilling is essential and technology is essential for that,
True.
right? Because the turnaround animation always takes a long while to produce.
Yeah.
And so does visual effects sometimes. So how do we minimize and shorten those schedules? The other thing that is, very evident is even in the world of our artists, right? The artistic community today, I think 13 years ago, even 20 years ago, and versus today, I think there are some people who have really been able to invest in themselves and start learning different types of tools and technologies because it's so available today.
Yeah.
The availability of modules, training, information, data is so much more prevalent
Correct.
that if you are really hungry and if you are really a hustler, the world is available to
For
you,
you, yeah.
right? Be it game engine use or third parties software solutions.
Yeah.
There is such a wide mix of that today that exploration is essential,
True.
right? So my only word of caution would be that today, if you're young, today, if you're hungry, today, if you're aspirational, today, if you are willing to work hard, and today, if you're Indian, you have a great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
Yeah. So let's just make the most of that.
Max, and you started the company with 20 employees.
Yeah.
And where is Assemblage today in terms of the strength and the grandness?
Right. At peak, we were over 800 people.
Wow.
At some point. And, the pandemic was not a good time for many businesses. Post-pandemic period was actually a great time for the animation ecosystem.
Absolutely,
because a lot of animation projects were commissioned and greenlit. In fact, live action was affected because of lack of shoots and availability of being on a set. But animation over-indexed and outperformed in that time. And I think we were great benefactors of that. But I think the greatest learning, Samit, in our business is not in size. I think being small is being powerful. Being in many ways, I think being scale is not a good measure necessarily of success. And we've seen scale.
Absolutely.
But like I said, knowing what not to do is a great essential learning for companies like ours. And I think we've been able to be very prudent. Right. It's like running a family.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to make in a month. You know what you have to spend on. Honestly, it's a very middle class way of thinking, and something wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being disciplined is important, and I think that's what we are.
And also, Assemblage is known for training young talents, right? You guys have groomed a lot of talents from the inception of Assemblage, and people have been on the top positions. I think some of them are still working with you guys for so many years.
And many have become leaders in other companies.
Other companies
which
also.
is great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. What message would you give to a young, aspiring artist to get into this industry, animation or visual effects, whatever, based on your thing?
I would only say, that's a great question, Samit. I think the only thing that we should always tell our young talent is we should go to the basics.
Yeah.
Let's spend time on the art. Let's spend time on the craft. Everything else will follow. The tools will follow, the tech will follow. But let's spend time on the basics. If you're a filmmaker, if you're a budding writer, if you're a budding illustrator, if you come from a fine arts background, or whatever it might be, I think it's just deep dive into your domain, because that will become irreplaceable.
True.
Even if people are threatened by AI, let's ask the pertinent question. Today, AI is also using a data set which is created by humans. Right? And the art that will create is also influenced by art created by man. It's a cycle, right? Let's also not forget that in every cycle, this is a cycle I feel, because now that people can make films at home, they can make films on their iPhones, they can make films with tools, there will be a heavy rise in the supply of low value content.
True.
A lot of noise.
Yeah.
Again, there will be fatigue. Again, people will start seeking curated content.
Good content.
Again, that content ecosystem will rise.
Yeah.
So this is a cycle, right? So yes, for all these budding youngsters, you have to time yourselves well. Don't lose hope, because we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just that in this time, upskill yourselves, and don't forget, the foundation of your art or craft or whatever you like doing. Yeah.
So I would like to thank you again, Arjun, for on a weekend coming here for this podcast and spending such a lovely time and educating all our audience about the assemblage, not just assemblage story, but the fact about how animation industry works, how VFX happens, how the entire journey of assemblage was from animation to visual effects. So once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And Samit, thank you for having me here. And firstly, I should say congratulations to you and to ScorpionSpeaks for taking this initiative. I think it's going to be a huge success.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.